roofing around the country. All you have to do is listen for Larry and Robin to tell you to call. So tune in and win from WOCA and Red Roof Inn.
All right, 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. When's the last time somebody said to you, read any good books lately? Gosh, we used to say that to each other all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got a good one for you right now, and it's written by Larry Watts and Carolyn Ferrell Watts. They've written this book called Dishonored and Forgotten. It's a novel, but it's based on an historical account of a police narcotics scandal in 1953. And again, the title is Dishonored and Forgotten. On the book cover itself, it says, if Detective Bill Nitzer committed suicide, he's the only person who ever killed himself twice. Wow. And we had to cut this one short so that we could squeeze in something else, but we appreciate them coming on. Larry Watts and Carolyn Ferrell Watts, good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
Are you both in the same place? Are you husband and wife, by the way?
We are.
Okay, I thought so. Are you both, where are you? Where are you calling from?
We're calling from League City, Texas, which is between Galveston and Houston.
Oh, okay. It says it's a novel, but this is actually a true story. Why is it considered a novel?
Well, when we did the research for the book, there were obviously lots of gaps since none of the people who were involved are still living. So we thought that we could create a better flowing book if we fictionalize some parts of it, and we talk about that in the preface to the book.
It's actually how it's presented,
so
how the story is told.
I'm guessing that we don't spoil anything by knowing that he had 2 gunshot wounds. Obviously, that tells you that it wasn't a suicide, but that doesn't spoil the book, because obviously you have to figure out how the heck this happened, right? What really happened?
Well, that's true, and to some degree, when you finish the book, I think each reader will come to their own conclusions about what happened.
Oh, really? Okay, see, I didn't get that far. So has this been a story you two have been talking about for a long time, and you said, you know what, this should be a book?
No, actually, I have known about this incident since I was a young police officer in 1967 in Houston. I heard anecdotal accounts, but actually what happened was that we ran across a short story in another book about this incident, and so about 3 years ago we began doing the research to write the book.
And Carolyn, were you familiar with the story already, or did you learn about it through your husband?
Well, when Larry found the story in a book of short stories about gangsters in Texas, he said, I know about this. He said the officers, some of the older officers used to talk about it, and they'd kind of wink and nod and say, yeah, this was a murder. And he said, this is worth writing about. He's written a number of books that are on social justice and better policing, and some just fun fiction. But this was a chance to really get into some research, and my background has a lot to do with research. I'm a psychologist. But we were able to locate the files of the federal agent who was involved in researching the case. After he died, his wife left his files to Stanford University, and so Larry called him, and we were able to purchase a copy of the Houston files. So that just added a lot of meat to our work.
Wow.
Plus, we did a lot of research on all the news articles and interviewed some of the relatives of the people involved.
So
it just was very exciting.
If you had written this book earlier, maybe 30 years earlier, and some of the people were still alive, would you be having to hide out? Would they be coming to get you?
Well, I like to think not. Actually, even today, there are differing views at the Houston Police Department about whether or not this was a murder or a suicide. The one person who I've interviewed who was alive and witnessed this believes it was a murder, or at least told me that when I talked to him. But it would be a little spicier if all the folks were still here.
And this book doesn't just stop within the police department. I mean, you've got the city attorney and the mayor involved, and because sometimes when there are things illegal going on, it just can't be one person. Its tentacles reach everyone.
Yes, and I think that's fairly clear with this book, and actually something that is in the book is the fact that the man who was police chief at the time and had to step down because he had a codeine addiction. The Houston Police Academy is named after him. So within the police department, this has kind of been forgotten about.
Is anybody who maybe the family of Detective Bill Nitzer, is anybody happy that you're shedding light on a different angle to the story?
Well, I think and hope they are. I've had numerous conversations with a nephew of his, and this nephew helped his father, before his father passed away, make an inquiry to the Houston Police Department, I believe in 2003, 50 years after this incident, and asked them to reopen the case and to look at it as possibly a murder. The police department chose not to do that after doing some review, and I don't disagree that it would probably be very difficult today to do that.
So I'm just curious, as writers, did you have to? Was it almost like finding? I guess like an unfinished painting. So you had enough information, so it looked like it was probably there, but you had to fill in spaces that you had to make up certain things just to connect the dots.
Yes, and we created a couple of characters in the telling of the story. The story is told in real time, and a character who is fictional tells about his time. And he was involved in this, and he gives his perspective on how it all happened.
And that's Buck Nichols?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's an interesting character in himself.
I love Buck.
Yeah.
So, Larry, as a retired police officer, you must have a lot of stories. Will we see more books coming out?
Well, actually, yes. I've written a number of other books. My very first book was The Missing Piece, which is a story set in Austin. It's fictional, but it's set in Austin, and a black man is killed by a police officer, and the gun that the police officer says he had is missing. So, yeah, I've written several. I've also written a book of short stories set in Houston, which is also fictional, but every one of them is from my experience.
How long ago did you retire from the police department?
I retired from the police department in 1988 and began working for a statewide police association representing.
Oh, really? Has it changed a whole lot since your early days? Has technology changed police work?
Well, technology has certainly changed police work, but interestingly, I was on the police department in the late 60s and early 70s, and there are many similarities between what's going on right now in police work with the disconnect between certain segments of society.
And really?
Back then, yeah, if you'll recall, that was during the civil rights movement.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you both so much for being on again. Thank you for, how do you say it?
Can I give you a quick Valentine gift?
Yeah, it's a great gift.
I think
Been
so.
talking about it?
It is. Can I ask you, do you have a website? Let me end it with that. Do you have a website?
Yes, both of us have websites. Mine is www.larrywatts.net. Books are available there, and Carolyn's is www.carolynwatts.net, and all the books are available there.
And I have a copy of the book. Call me if you want the one that was sent to me, Dishonored and Forgotten. Thank you both so much. This is WOCA Ocala.
The president in new tweets out this morning calling yesterday's appeals court decision on his travel ban disgraceful.
In full caps, instead of writing warfare, he writes lawfare. Remarkably, in the entire opinion, the panel did not bother to even cite the statute. The statute he's talking about, of course, is the U.S. code that gives him the authority over immigration and to bar from the country create whatever aliens or class of aliens he would like without anybody saying anything about it.
Fox's John Roberts. There are thousands of delays as airlines try to get back on track after the powerful storm which slammed the Northeast yesterday.
Reported snow totals in Connecticut included 19 inches in East Hartford, and some parts of Maine saw 16 inches.
Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers. And some passengers on an Amtrak headed for Boston this morning say they were stuck in the Bronx for about 5 hours without heat. The railroad saying there'd been a problem with overhead electrical wires. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Heavy rain this morning causing backed up traffic all the way to
Please remove all laptops and
Folks, we're number 9 on the list for takeoff, so settle in, keep those seatbelts fastened.
What fries with that?
Welcome to Westin.
Travel can be disruptive to your well-being. That's why at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we have rejuvenating heavenly beds, a nutritious superfoods RX menu, and a workout gear lending program to help you stay in control and rise above it all. Westin, let's rise.
HelloFresh delivers recipes and ingredients for a home-cooked meal in around 30 minutes. Like this recipe. Start with a working couple. Add 2 demanding jobs.